Hello and welcome to all our viewers who are tuned into Race 2020. I am Barnali and we have an exciting fireside chat, impact of AI on e-marketplace. Artificial intelligence is transforming the business. The procurement and e-marketplace are making good use of AI tools and technologies to increase the order through personalized recommendations. AI is also used for tracking, checking, and preventing fraudulent activities. The fireside chat will touch base on the use of AI in the e marketplace, especially public procurement. And joining us today, we have Mr. Talleen Kumar, the CEO of Government e Marketplace. Mr. Kumar is a member of the Indian Administrative Service of 1987 batch. He holds a BTech from IIT Kanpur in electrical engineering, an MTech from IIT Delhi, and an MBA from the University of Texas at Dallas with concentration in finance and management information systems. And joining Mr. Talleen Kumar, there is Mr. Saibal Chakraborty. He is the managing director and partner, Boston Consulting Group. Mr. Saibal Chakraborty is a member of the Center for Digital Government at Boston Consulting Group. He is a core member of the firm's public sector and technology, media and telecommunications practices, and co-leader of the firm's technology advantage practice in India. To start this wonderful fireside chat, may I hand over to Mr. Saibal Chakraborty. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Barnali. I'm just checking if I'm audible.
Yes,
I hope I'm audible. Great,
yes.
thank you. It's my great honor to be in this session with the CEO of GEM, Shri Talleen Kumar ji. GEM needs no introduction. After 4 years, we all know what GEM stands for. It's the one-stop online national public procurement platform that allows all government buyers, including central, state ministries, departments, PSUs, to buy from them. Since its inception in August 2016, and many of us would know this story, and it's a very proud story for India, GEM has ramped to a very large scale of operations. Today, it houses 47,000 buyers, nearly 565,000 sellers, and GEM, since its inception, has driven over $10 billion of transaction value. All states and union territories, other than, of course, the central government departments, are onboarded and transacting actively on GEM. So it's a great story for the country. And, the volume is not the only story. GEM has driven tremendous amount of inclusivity. As of today, there are 127,000 MSME sellers registered on the GEM platform. So out of the 565,000, 127,000 are MSME sellers. Over $5 billion of the GEM transactions are actually driven by MSME sellers. So more than 50% of GEM transactions almost are driven by MSME sellers. There are multiple self-help groups. There are weavers and craftsmen. There are 600 SC/ST businesses transacting through GEM. As we speak, there are 17,000 female sellers today with more than $600 million of orders. This platform is also powering the new economy and innovation. So there are 7,000 startups that are actually selling their products or services through this platform. And last but not the least, a very, very important story. A recent World Bank survey has shown that GEM, on an average across all these $10 billion transactions, has saved about 10% on an average across categories. So that means about almost $1 billion worth of savings to the Indian exchequer. So, it's a great story. And, without much further ado, let me pass on the mic to Shri Talleen Kumar. Sir, GEM obviously has had a tremendous journey, and you have played a great role in leading it. Where do you think GEM, as a platform, as a government organization, as a government artifact, has truly broken ground? Over to you, sir.
Saibal, before we talk about GEM, I would like to take you to this Digital India vision of the Government of India. And let me talk about a few successful platforms, such as Bharat Interface for Money. We all know about Aadhaar. We all know about GSTN. We all know about Ayushman Bharat. And we also have this National Digital Health Mission, which the Honorable Prime Minister announced recently. So in this series of digital platforms for realizing the vision of Digital India, GEM is also one such platform, and it is a government to business platform. And the vision for GEM was expounded by the Honorable Prime Minister himself. And to drive, the vision is to drive the three pillars of GEM, namely inclusion, so that the smallest seller can sell directly to any government organization or a government buyer. The next pillar is usability and transparency on the portal. And the third is how do we drive cost efficiency on the portal. So GEM has been continuously driving the three pillars as expounded by the Honorable Prime Minister. But I want to say that GEM is much more than merely national public procurement. Many people think that, okay, GEM is only for public procurement and a buyer comes and buys something. Well, let me tell you that it is much more than that. And why? Number one is, the reason is that if you look at how GEM was conceived and how GEM has evolved and grown, you will realize that GEM has triggered a massive change management exercise in the country. From the legacy procurement processes to digital marketplace-oriented processes, it has been a huge change and a huge journey for many government buyers. Number two, I would say that the manner in which technology, analytics, and digitization has taken place, this has brought in a lot of visibility into procurement. Traditionally, procurement, government, and especially government procurement, has always been opaque, cumbersome, and has always been regarded as non-transparent in many ways traditionally. And the technology, digitization, and analytics has brought in a lot of visibility into this procurement practices. So this is number two. Number three reason why it is much more than procurement is the fact that if you look at the vision that laid down for GEM by the Honorable Prime Minister, you will see that these are precisely the attributes that a common man likes to see in the government. In a way, this has brought government to the people, and it has helped the government to realize the vision of minimum government and maximum governance. And the fourth reason why I would say it is much more than procurement is that on a digital platform, which is rule-based and generates trust, it is the transmission of policy intent is something that is just not possible in the manual environment. So if you want something for MSMEs, if you want to propel the idea of Make in India, you have some policy that you want to get executed. This is the perfect place and the perfect way of doing it. So that is why I always think that GEM as a platform is much more than only a platform for public procurement.
That's a fantastic summary, sir. Indeed, in terms of we in consulting always talk about change management. I think in terms of scale and complexity of change management, what you are driving through GEM is indeed very unprecedented across public and private sector. The next question, let us make a quick segue into digital, and then we will move to AI. Could you please elaborate on how digital technology, I mean, you started with a great context of how GEM is another great innovation in the overall context of Digital India. But how is it that digital technology can actually help drive open, efficient, and transparent procurement? What are some of the key principles behind that? If you could just help the audience understand that.
So I would like to summarize the attributes of a digital platform very broadly. So what is the essence of a digital platform which makes it click? Some of these attributes that I want to highlight is that number one attribute is that how costly it is for a stakeholder to onboard the digital platform. Well, practically nothing, no cost. So I call it zero cost. Then if you see what is the time that it takes for a stakeholder to onboard the platform? Zero time. So zero cost, zero time. The third attribute is it is generally all platforms, digital platforms are rule based. So whatever applies to one individual applies to every other individual. If you have this kind of predictability in processes and it is uniformly applied to all, it automatically generates a level of trust. So this is another attribute of a digital platform. The fourth is the attribute of a positive network effect that a platform creates. And by that, I mean that every user on the portal, derives increasing amounts of value as the number of users on the portal grows. So this is another attribute, and this is called the positive network effect. And the best example that I can see of a mature positive network effect is Uber as a platform, for example, where if the number of riders, number of people, service providers increases, the time between servicing goes down, the demand for services picks up. And since the number of riders has gone up, the idle time, the time between services also goes down, the cost goes down and the demand picks up. So you have more service providers, you have more users. More users means more service providers. This kind of a positive network effect can be there in GEM as well. Because if I have more sellers, I have more buyers. Why? Because the World Bank has recently, in an independent study, they have established that every addition of a participant in a tender leads to 0.55% savings in the actual procurement. So if you have more sellers, that means more savings, attracts more buyers will attract more sellers. So this positive network effect is there on GEM as well. And the last but not the least is in governance, especially, I would say digital platforms will play a major role. Why? Because on one hand, because of the heterogeneity and the diversity in India, at every layer of administration, every small region, every small administrative unit becomes important. And in the limit, the government will have to give individualized services customized to that individual. So how do you do this? How do you provide customized individual services while at the same time maintaining fairness and impartiality and an unbiased approach? This dilemma can be easily resolved through a digital marketplace. So that is why I think, especially for governance, digital marketplace will play a very important and key role. And these are the attributes which enable such transformation and disruptive transformation to happen.
Thank you, sir. I think those principles are very, very well laid out. We also, of course, know that as part of the GEM 4.0 initiative, you have in your pipeline a large number of technology releases coming up in GEM, covering advanced analytics, BI, NLP, etc., etc. And all of these, will play a great role in enhancing the GEM platform. Just one more question that we have often heard in the context of GEM, which I wanted you to touch upon just for the benefit of the users. It's the unified procurement system. What exactly is that, and how will that help GEM and help the government to achieve more streamlined procurement?
Now, the unified procurement system now that you spoke about is now a policy statement of the government of India. And what it means essentially in a nutshell is that you have many publishing portals traditionally. If you leave aside GEM, you have the Central Public Procurement Portal. You have the Indian Railway Electronic Procurement System. You have the Defense Public Procurement Portal. These are all publishing portals, not marketplaces. So what Unified Procurement System does is, it brings the functionalities of all these publishing portals on GEM and then provides a single user experience to all the users in GEM. What I mean to say is, how it works is a person comes on GEM and he has to generate a GEM availability report and a past transaction summary, which GEM provides in an automated fashion. and he takes this result and then makes a decision about whether he should procure from GEM or he should procure outside GEM. But the moment he thinks that this has to go outside GEM, we provide him a custom bid module by which he can publish the tender on GEM itself. So he doesn't have to hop from GEM to another publishing portal. He can do everything on one portal, and the portal will provide a single user experience to him. Now, this has three big advantages. One is it provides economies of scale. Second is it allows dissemination of best procurement practices among all sellers. And the third is more and more efficient price discovery, because more sellers means better price discovery. And you see the vendors, the attachment to vendors across publishing portals essentially fragments the vendor base. So by having a unified procurement system, you are trying to consolidate the vendor base, which results in the advantages that I mentioned. This is, in a nutshell, this is what the unified procurement system means.
No, I think that is, that is something, as we know, and as you mentioned, under the network effects as well, it is the exponential volume increase and therefore the exponential increase in value and benefits. That's what, the Honorable PM's vision was. I think the unified procurement system is one measure that will go a long way towards achieving that. And I'll wish you all the good luck in implementing it. Now, coming to the very specific topic of AI, across countries, governments are, pumping in a lot of investment on AI. We have in India some amount of thinking that, NeTi Aayog is putting in as well. If we think about GEM, what are those 5 or 6 areas which in your view will yield the maximum benefit? I mean, practical applications of AI. We don't want to do AI for the sake of AI. We want to do AI if there is a genuine business case and a genuine return on investment. So my question to you, sir, is where all do you see that genuine return for investment? And so if you could just elaborate a few of those areas for the listeners.
Yes, absolutely. So technology and AI are core to what we do, actually. And I want to, before I give you the actual scenarios for AI, I just want to add one line that, we have an elaborate technology roadmap in GEM, which encompasses advanced analytics, business intelligence. We are even doing a blockchain hyperledger proof of concept with a local government in Uttar Pradesh for procurement of medicines, because this is where I feel traceability and authenticity are important. And we also have the seller module that we have, seller invitation module, then crowdsourcing of sellers and categories module, and all the UI UX areas, the user interface and the user experience areas, that all the seller touch points have been revamped. So technology plays a big role in what we do. Now, coming to AI, we have identified very specific practical areas where AI in to solve the problems that GEM faces. So number one is area that we have identified is, sellers face a lot of difficulties in identifying the categories for a product that they have. So when they come to the portal, they want to find out in which category this product needs to be uploaded. And if they upload in the wrong category, they will be left out of orders. So what we are trying to do is, we are trying to say, okay, let him not do anything fancy. Let him just upload the image of the product and let the system fetch the possible categories for him and let him choose with some sample images. So we have done it for 50. It involves AI, including machine learning. And we will ramp up for other categories as well. The second area is, procurement planning and monitoring. Let's say a buyer looks at historical data, does predictive analysis, does forecasting, and GEM helps in doing all that. And then he has a list of products that he wants to procure. How does he know whether these things are available on GEM or not? So there has to be, this requires a deep natural language understanding and natural language processing. It involves AI and deep learning. So it will help the buyer to actually fetch from GEM the categories that exist on GEM. And if they don't exist on GEM, he can procure them outside. So this is a second use case where we can use NLP and AI and take it forward. The third use case will be identifying the behavioral patterns of the buyer. So when the buyer buys many things, we can identify what is his behavior. Does he procure a particular product service at a particular time of the year? So, and make his experience better when he tries to procure again. So it's another area. The fourth area is the virtual assistant. You see, a chatbot, traditionally called a chatbot, but we are building much more than that. We are calling it a virtual assistant, where he actually enters the assistant and he doesn't have to go back to the web page on the portal. So everything, he can close his transactions while he is within the virtual assistant. That is the goal. And while doing so, he will have access to all the features and functionalities of the portal. That is another area where AI is required, and we are continuously improving in that area. Then, as I mentioned, the natural language processing part, which is deployed in the search engine, which is customized to GEM. We are working on this so that we have a much more efficient and effective search. Then there's another area where we want the buyers to know how they are utilizing GEM. We have created a metrics for utilizing GEM. So it involves knowing what they can procure from GEM. Are they procuring from GEM or not? So in order to do that, what we do is we analyze their tenders that they have floated outside GEM, and we want to create a functionality by which we can say that you could have procured this from GEM, but you actually did not do so. So that will help him in realizing and finding out how close he is to that GEM utilization ratio. Now, here the input is the entire tender document. The output is the availability of a category. So this requires AI and machine learning to solve this problem. Another area is, in many tenders, you have eligibility requirements and you have technical requirements, technical specifications. Wherever they are quantified, can GEM use AI to kind of predict and recommend that this fellow is eligible, this fellow is technically qualified, and so on. So that is the issue. And that is something that we are working on and trying to use robotic process automation to achieve that. Then we have customer service and support. This area can also involve a lot of AI, and we are still figuring it out. These are in initial stages. So when a customer calls, we can say which area is he affecting him. Is it the incident management module? Is it the assessment that he has to undergo? Where is it pending, and what is the expected time for its resolution? And of course, the last and the most important area is fraud and deviation management, where we want to identify anomalies through a combination of supervised and unsupervised learning. And we can use it for predicting anomalies on the portal. So like buyer-seller collusion, like price insanity, like marketplace insanity, like anomalous procurement, and maybe cartelization also. So these areas which will otherwise not be possible with traditional statistical measures are now possible through AI, including machine learning and deep learning. And we are progressing in these directions to take care of these cases. But there could be many more. I'm just trying to tell you which cases we have come across right now.
No, I think this is an excellent rendition, and very, very glad to see that this level of innovation is being thought through and being implemented, within the government. So absolutely, on behalf of all the listeners, we would like to wish you all the good luck. One question that often comes up, sir, that in the public sector, while you have a great vision and implementation plan, and we have made remarkable progress, often, building the advanced tech capabilities in-house or sustaining those capabilities, attracting and retaining talent often becomes an issue. So I think a lot of the other public sector organizations would like to know from you how you are thinking about the talent aspect, the capability building aspect within your organization, so that these technology changes can be sustainable.
Yeah, so that is the biggest challenge. So when you start something in government, will it run the course? And even if you are not there, will it continue? I keep asking that question. So that is why we have a three-pronged approach to this problem. One is we want to hire young talent and nurture them and build in-house capacity. So building in-house capacity is the key here. So can you train people? Can you make them attractive enough to stay? Can you hire young talent and nurture them so that they grow with GEM? The second area that we want to focus on is establishing centers of excellence, whether it is AI, whether it is blockchain, whether it is a particular analysis of a very important issue in GEM and advanced analytics. So can we have people who can anchor these centers, and we create centers of excellence so that we always excel in whatever we do and whatever is important to enhance the experience of buyers and sellers on the portal. And then last of all, we try to interact with the service providers, technology providers, with managed service providers, and people who specialize in technology. We keep on interacting with them to find out what the best practices are. And then through this collaborative approach, we learn, and they also learn from us, and we also learn from them. And this process continues to enable us to have a more vibrant and a robust organization.
That's very, very heartening to hear, and I think it's a great learning for some of the other organizations. As you said, it's a perennial challenge, and it's great that you are actively thinking through and trying to mitigate that. As a last question, sir, congratulations to you and the entire GEM team for such an inspiring story. What can we expect in the near and medium term from GEM? What are sort of your top 2-3 exciting things in your roadmap, sir?
See, the first is to grow the gross merchandise value on GEM, and the utilization of GEM. So that requires continuously creating categories, goods and services that buyers want on one hand. On the other hand, we have to create functionalities and features such as demand aggregation, price variation clause, consignee-wise, item-wise bidding, staggered delivery, or maybe custom bid. That means he can come and create any bid he wants. Flexibility to upload design, drawing, and so on during bidding. So I'm just giving you these examples to show that on one hand, we are focusing on creating categories by analyzing tenders, which they have floated outside GEM, to see which categories need to be created on GEM. This is one. Second is to create features and functionalities which will allow the buyers to actually procure from GEM. Besides this, we want to have a system of an enhanced user experience and a user interface and for all buyers and sellers. So we are working on UI, UX issues. So the three-pronged approach will take us there. And what we have seen is traditionally, global marketplaces such as, Chile Compra, GBiz of Singapore, Oneps of Korea, they have traditionally, in 10 to 20 years, they have matured towards 5% of the GDP figure for goods and services. So if we take that into consideration, we are looking at 3 to 4 lakh crore, and 1 lakh crore for international viewers is close to 14 billion So we should be able to reach 3 to 4 lakh crore in the next 2 to 3 years is what we are planning. And in the longer term of 5 years, possibly we should target close to 100 billion US dollars, which is about 7 to 8 lakh crore. So this is the space that we are looking at. We also have the capability of bringing works into GEM, but we don't currently, the government has not given us the mandate for works. But as and when we mature and seek government mandate, maybe we can work on works procurement as well.
No, exceptional. Sir, clearly, I mean, very ambitious roadmap. And on that 100 billion, if I add the 10% savings, then I think India can look forward to very, very good times. And there are a lot of hopes and expectations from GEM, and I think the GEM team under your leadership is doing an exceptional job towards that. So with that, I would like to bring today's session to a conclusion. Thank you, sir, for joining us, and many thanks to the Ministry of IT and the RAISE event organizers for organizing this. Back to you, Barnali.
Right, thank you, Saibal sir. And from discussing why GEM is so much more than just a public procurement platform to how digital technologies can actually drive open, efficient, and transparent procurement to practical applications of AI in procurement, this fireside chat has been wonderful and insightful. I would like to thank our distinguished guests, Mr. Talleen Kumar and Mr. Saibal Chakraborty, for joining us on RAISE. And thanks to our wonderful viewers for tuning into RAISE 2020. Stay tuned for many more exciting sessions on RAISE 2020. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you, sir. Thanks, Ubilo team. Thanks, NeGD team. Bye-bye. Okay. ठीक था ना? Good.
Yeah, he has done that already. हम 3 पार्टिसिपेंट ही दिख रहे हैं. हाँ.